Have you ever kept investing in curriculum, a subscription, or craft supplies that you weren't using? If so, you may have fallen victim to the sunk cost fallacy like I have. In the next few minutes, I'll explain how I ended up spending over $800 on Cricut supplies I never used. In the process, I'll explain how we can let go of a bad investment and avoid making them in the first place. I'm a psychologist, so you'd think I wouldn't keep spending money on something I wasn't using, but I'm also human. I've learned a lot about how to make better choices going forward that I want to share with you. I've been scrapbooking regularly for over 2 decades. As a gadget lover, I was all in when die cutting machines came out. I purchased a Wishblade machine and used it quite a bit. I enjoyed the challenge of it and the community of other users. Then the Cricut die cutting machine came out, and it was user-friendly with cartridges that should save me time. I reasoned that I would use it more frequently as a result. I sold my Wishblade and bought a Cricut. To get the most out of my Cricut, I would need lots of cartridges. I bought many of them on eBay. I did use the Cricut for a few projects, but found myself drawn to simpler scrapbooking at the time. It seemed like way too much trouble to use my die cutter. A few years after I purchased the machine, Cricut contacted me and explained that if I wanted to keep using their software, I would have to upgrade my machine. To encourage me, they offered the new model at a significant discount. I didn't want to lose access to the software, so I bought the machine along with new tools and lots of vinyl to cut lettering with. My daughter used the new machine a couple of times, but I never did. I felt awful that I'd spent so much money on something I wasn't using. So did I sell it? Give it away? Oh no. I decided that I would use the machine more if I bought a book filled with projects I could make with the machine. I did that, and the book sat on the shelf. Then I came across a membership that would send me a new craft project I could make every month with my machine. Perfect! I paid for a subscription and let a few months of projects go by because I was busy. Then I found a doormat project that was so cute, I just had to make it. I needed to buy a doormat, special paint and brushes, and a Cricut heat press. So I bought all that, keeping my Cricut software subscription going too. And I didn't make the doormat. Am I crazy? Probably a little. But a better explanation is that I succumbed to the sunk cost fallacy, the false belief that we can make up for a bad investment of time or money. It's exactly what gamblers do. They've lost so much money, but they'll make up for it with the next bet. Except they don't. Since realizing how the sunk cost fallacy was operating with my craft purchases, I recognized it at work in other areas of my life. If you too have fallen for the sunk cost fallacy, let's talk about how we can avoid it next time. First, we can avoid it with this truth. The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. With this truth in mind, I wouldn't have thought I would spend more time using a die cutting machine in the future. My past behavior told me that was unlikely, even if I thought I would surely have more time for crafting. To be certain that I would use the machine or the membership, I could have had a test week. I could have planned time to use my old machine creating a free project I found online. If I followed through and I enjoyed it, great. If not, I would have known not to invest in a new model or a craft membership at that time in my life. A second way of avoiding the sunk cost fallacy is to cut your losses quickly. Here's what I mean. When I really value something, I use it immediately. I cut some letters with the machine. I watch the video in the course. I wear the sweater. If I don't, it's a sign that I've made a poor investment. The sooner we act, the smaller the loss will be. We can cancel and get some of our money back, return the item for a refund, or resell at top dollar. I waited so long to cut my losses that my Cricut model is worth nothing, even in resale markets. A third way of avoiding the sunk cost fallacy is by shifting our focus from the past to the future. If I think about the money and time I've lost on Cricut supplies, I'm embarrassed and upset by my foolishness. It's so uncomfortable that I want to fix it by using these supplies like crazy so I can say it was worth it. But if I focus on the future, I acknowledge that I made a mistake and I feel the emotions associated with that. I was investing in something I thought would bring me joy, but didn't. I thought I could get myself to spend more time on Cricut crafting by spending more, but that didn't work. I can beat myself up for that and spend even more time and money on Cricut to try to feel better. Or I can give myself grace and count it money well spent if I learned something that will save me time and money in the future. When we focus on the future and give ourselves grace, we also see options. I realized I can resell my heat press because it's a recent purchase. I can give my Cricut supplies to someone who is excited to use them right away. And finally, I can share what I learned in the process with others. If you're a homeschool mom, you can share what you've learned about sunk cost fallacy with your kids so they can avoid falling prey to it. Let me know in the comments how you've been a victim of sunk cost fallacy and how you'll focus on the future.